Welcome to another Cougar Land podcast with one of my buddies. We grew up around the same time. He went on to do some modeling. I was a ski instructor in Switzerland for a few years. I'm kidding. Neither one of those statements are true. This is Ralph Shuburg. Good to see you, Ralph. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, bud?
Good, man. You look healthy. It looks like you've been getting some sun. You've been working outdoors, huh?
Yeah, I do. That's part of my job profession now. So,
Well, you left Italy, but you were there what years? Let's go backwards. So what years have you been there?
I left there probably. Well, actually, I got there in '74 or '5. I can't remember. I think I started the second grade, and then I ended up staying there until right about eighth grade. And then I went to Fort Devens because I just saw the other podcast, and she reminded me of that, and I forgot that she had went there. And
oh, Cindy? Cindy, yeah.
Yeah, Cindy. Yeah, it was funny. So, but anyway, so the very next year I came back as a freshman, and I ended up leaving again like she did. It was the weirdest thing. I left there after my junior year. So I went to Ramstein, Germany, and actually graduated from there.
Now, we had some years. I mean, I knew you as a little kid. We were both little kids together, probably in second grade. Apparently, you went to class in the snow. I didn't go on your magic Greece trip. I had no idea that you'd go on a Greece trip. I thought you'd just stay fishing by the fish pond by your house. But,
right.
Class in the snow, that was a blast. Have you ever thought about what that is, like how unique that is?
Yeah, it is. It's very unique because, I mean, you don't see many people that actually even know how to snow ski nowadays. And, I've got a couple buddies of mine here where I live that we go. There's some small hills, so to speak, because of the fact that we don't live near the Alps anymore,
Right.
So, we go up there during the wintertime, and, there's this one place called the Perfect North. And then there's Paoli Peaks, and I tell you what, man, I could shoot those like backwards downhill, because I really got that class in the snow thing because I kept on with my skiing and stuff.
Right on.
Yeah, it was
cool. They're like, these are baby slopes.
Right.
But, I mean, you don't think about it. We had some like private school country club kind of experiences that you wouldn't get going to an American high school. Like you would not be going to school where you live now in Kentucky and let's go to Greece on a teen club trip, or you wouldn't go skiing in the Alps, nor would your fifth or sixth grade go skiing. And, I don't know how many years Class in the Snow ran for. I remember the older kids when we were little, wearing the patch, were like, oh, they're so lucky. Like when we were fourth graders, right?
Right.
And then later we went up there and we became skiers too. And then you could go skiing with MWR, just go up with the GIs on the weekend. Did you ever do that? Like just run one of those trips?
Actually, no, I didn't do that. But I tell you what I did do is my dad and my mom were avid skiers too. So we used to go to Asiago all the time. I actually skied on Marmolada. I became a very good skier. So did my parents. And so we Asiago was an hour away to the top of the mountain and top of the slopes and stuff like that. We've been to Monte Bondone like a lot of times.
Bondone was our Class in the Snow mountain.
Right.
I went there separately too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we used to go there separately. And, I tell people nowadays, it's like, hey, we used to go skiing and it would take us an hour to get down the hill, and the hills here, it takes like 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's one thing like a big Disneyland kind of water slide versus somebody's little slide in their backyard. Like, boop, okay, not even a second, right? Other when you're riding down, you're on a raft, you're flipping around in tubes, and it takes you 5 minutes to get down. Well, that's what it's like. The skiing out here in California is pretty amazing, right near where I live. Yeah. I never thought California was known for its skiing because I thought it was just all a beach. But they have mountains and they have skiing, Lake Tahoe and Squaw Valley and all these other places, which I've been to. They're great. It's different though when you come back, because when I came out of Italy, I went to go visit Mark Parkins after my A school in the Navy, and he was in Utah with his brother and Chaz Donaldson, and they were going to Utah State. So Mark's taking me to these slopes. These things were triple, quadruple black diamond runs. I couldn't even get my feet under me. They were so steep, dude. It wasn't enjoyable. But the weirdest thing to me, after being a European skier for since little kid till growing up, they had Taco Bell on the slope. And I was like, Taco Bell. And then, and then the vibe was like Rasta vibe, because surfer kind of, surfer skier culture had meshed in the States. In Europe, it was skiers, like strict skiers. Everybody wanted to look like the ski instructor with the tight pants on and the padded knee pads and, the perfect matching uniform. It was about a style, showing off your Cadillac of an outfit or whatever. So, seeing the Taco Bell in the States, I'm like, Taco Bell doing up here? Why isn't it Glühwein or Sambuca shots? You know what I mean?
Oh, the Glühwein was the stuff, buddy. I'm telling you, man. I love that stuff. I still, to this day, just to fast forward a little bit, my mom lives actually here too, because when I actually got out of the military, I moved here because of my mother. My mother and my stepfather moved here from Dayton, Ohio, and that's how I ended up in Kentucky. But ever since I got out of the Air Force, I lived here. So, but we do that tradition like Germans do, with the Glühwein during Christmas season. And it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, you're like me, another part German guy that speaks Italian.
Yes,
that's how it works. Isn't that funny?
Yep.
Yeah, we speak, sprechen Sie kleine Deutsch, but not sehr gut, bisschen.
Ein bisschen.
Yeah, bisschen, right? So it's funny. There's a lot of people that had 3 nationalities and another language or 2. It was like we all mixed it up, man. When you walk out of there, you're a human Swiss Army knife of communications.
Right.
But, so you get to watch your friends calling you out there. Good old Cindy. That was kind of funny, huh? Cindy and Barb.
I know it's funny. The thing about it is that a lot of that time frame for me was a blur. I basically, after I left Italy, I moved on, and I've really never thought much about it. But watching all these podcasts and stuff, it's like bring back so many memories, and it's bringing back more memories than you want to know. I can tell you that. Because I remember doing some crap with you, buddy, that would, land us in a slammer, bro.
we had some fun. I mean, I don't think our stories are kind of that one time in band camp-esque. One time in band camp, Ralph hit me with a guitar. Not that kind of
stuff. No. This is more like rated PG-13 to rated R almost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, Italy was cool as the Italians weren't looking for naughty American kids. Once you're off post, you had free reign. On post, if you had the choice between mischief and boring was painful. Mischief looked good, and eventually you're like, you know what? I'm tired of the MPs pulling me in for something stupid that I did or caught me with a beer in the North 40. I think I'll go off post. Right. And then, and as we get older, more of our adventures did veer off post. And those were great. I mean, I remember we took a Livorno trip, and I was actually going to bring Mark Rivera's former girlfriend on here, Gina, from Livorno.
Right.
She's cool. She's a cool chick. She's she hosted us. We went there was a bonfire in the dunes. We were up there.
All I remember, dude, is I was so screwed up that I woke up on the beach with sand in my mouth. That's all I remember. So
I remember we camped there. And somehow somebody gave me one of those mummy bags like the airborne use. They're kind of like Gore-Tex. You were there. We tried to make tents out of the umbrellas that were on the American beach, like the dome tent. Like it's an interesting tent. Everywhere you turn, there's a stick that you're running into, and the internal. It looks cool from the outside, but then it's like camping around sticks. But I woke up, it was raining, and I'm laying in the sand in this mummy bag going, this feels good. I don't even want to wake up. I don't care about the rain. This thing's waterproof, but I'm not thinking like sand turning into mud, but I remember a funny thing that we did there. Nothing to put you on blast or be ashamed of. But yeah, we were playing a game. It was you, me, Mark, might have been Mike Chandler and Kenny Poplinski.
Right.
And I know we first got there and Kenny was carrying one of those buck knives on his side. We were playing quarters on the train. We were there on summer hire. We're getting close to 18 around then. And we pull off in the train station, the carbineer go, come here. You can't have this big buck knife belt thing like the work belt buck knife things. They took his knife away. I thought we were in trouble. We get away with that. Then we get onto the base. The Livorno kids were really cool. You know, they hosted us. We're having playing quarters against them at the open air, you know, square there near the. I think it was the Continental Hotel. I'm not sure. Hotel Europa, whatever it is that faces the water. And it's not really a square; it's like a horseshoe.
Right.
We're eating those paninos and the jukebox. I mean, is that bringing back memories right there? That little area, right?
Oh yeah.
But after a night of wild fun, we had to hike it back to the base because we didn't have cars. And there's that long, dark road that goes along probably where they had an ammo depot that goes to the front where they have the campground on the base. So there was no lights. And we would hide in bushes and run up on each other and push the other guy in the bushes and run up. So I think we did that for miles. Right. Oh, you were in the bushes. It was
right.
Yeah. Kind of immature, inventive things, how to make a 5-mile walk in Friday the 13th looking darkness. Right?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Did you ever go camping there too? I mean, at other times or?
No, no, not really. I mean, you know, my wife now, she likes to camp, but she likes like staying in a hotel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no such thing as like camping, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I've done it like a couple times, you know, with my kids and stuff when they were young, and now they're grown.
Last time I went camping, Kevin Merritt came to visit me when he was in the Air Force, and we went up to Lake Tahoe. Right. And I'm thinking, yeah, I got this. And, you know, I'm getting late 30s, whatever. It's been a long time. We popped a tent. We're there. It's raining the next day. I'm like, just throw it in the garbage. I just didn't want to pack in the car. Maybe
man.
You know, but it was like all the pine cones, your back. You're like, man, my back muscles are not used to camping anymore. I got over it, right?
Right.
So it was pretty fun. I guess the best part's making breakfast over the fire. But we went on football trips. We went to Sigonella together. I'm pretty sure.
I remember Sigonella, believe it or not. Yeah. Yes, I think you know I was the punter of the team. I don't know how. I thought I was good back then, but I guess whenever you compare me to like some of your old podcasts, people in the United States, I probably wasn't worth a crap. But you know, I never had that opportunity.
Well, we got confidence, Ralph.
Right.
We were all on a team, you know, like my brother. My brother's talking like he doesn't want to put his son in basketball yet till he grows more because he's in 8th grade and there's kids that can slam dunk the ball.
Right.
You know what I mean? Imagine we're playing football with people that are like on some Texas high school with 5,000 kids and they're coming in at like 6'5", 290 pounds. You're like, block.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, it's like David Dinges used to do to me all the time when we used to, like, we'd have to get down and, like, go against each other. And, I mean, he'd literally knock me out, man, because he had, like, 100 pounds on me. You know what I'm saying?
He was a steam train. I saw him. He was so hard to tackle, man. If you went at him in the front.
Yeah, you ain't kidding there, bro.
Right? If you went at him in the front, you'd bounce off of him. If you went at him on the side, you might get your arm ripped off.
Right.
What you had to look for the angle of the tackle, David.
Oh yeah. You had to really take him. For some reason, you had to like tie his shoelaces together while you're down there.
Yeah, something of that nature. But I mean, the whole point with the trips that we take, like you're like a big pro football player. You're flying on Alitalia. You land in Rome. You get a panino, and then all of a sudden you're landing in Sigonella, and I don't know if you were you at the one trip where we went swimming or no? Over in the ocean?
Man, I can't even remember back then, but I don't think so. I know that we went to Sigonella one time and we beat that team like 52-0.
That was the trip then, maybe. Yeah, we did. We destroyed it.
I mean, we drilled that poor little team. It was bad, dude.
That's not even an exaggerated number 40 years later.
Right. It might have been like 58 or something to nothing. Well, I mean, we killed them bad.
We were putting in third and fourth stringers. Go, try, get a touchdown. And then everybody go. You know, I remember that. Right. But I like the Sigonella thing. I mean, I like the, normal conversation is the vending machines with the beer in it. And that was great. Just go back to the gym, pop a few beers. You didn't even have to leave post. Everything was convenient over there.
Right.
But then, remember when we would go to places like there, Sigonella and Naples, volcanic, like earthquakes every 15 minutes?
Right.
Right?
Oh no! Let me just tell you the story real quick. When I first was, I lived in Camisano for a long period of time, and so I think for the first session of my life there, before I came back to this, or before I came back from the States in my 8th grade year, I lived in Camisano, and I remember we lived on the second story of I mean, their houses all were like concrete, you know, there was no wood building like they do here in the States, you know?
Right.
So, I remember my dad jerking me up out of the bed at 2:00 in the morning saying that there's an earthquake. And, you know, we had like what was it, a kerosene heater that used to heat our house, and we were on the second floor, and he drug us downstairs and outside of that place, you know, in the middle of the night because it was just shaking.
Elementary school.
If I'm not mistaken, I think did we have like 30 something earthquakes that year?
Well, yeah, this one, the big one was on my birthday, my 9th birthday. You might even have been at my birthday party. It was my 9th birthday.
Right.
So that would be like 3rd grade. And it was 3rd grade. And then we had another one when we were in class. Remember that the seats started hopping up?
Oh, yeah. We had to get underneath they taught you how to get underneath something, like, so because the roof wasn't going to kill you if you laid under one of those desks.
I remember I stood up, I started seeing the seats going, teacher's like, kids, trying to figure out what's going on. Like, is somebody going to jackhammer making the seats hop? You know, kids, it was coming on slowly, right? So I stood up and I braced, and the rest of the class, she like, stand up, class, and they all flew against the chalkboard, and they were crying. All these kids crying, terrified.
Oh yeah, it was bad, man. It was like a bad time. I don't know what fault was like over there or something like that, but yeah, it was pretty bad.
A lot of Italians died, I think, in southern Italy or different areas where they had older buildings that just collapsed.
Right.
You know, it's like, oh crap. So
yeah,
then
when they make them out of concrete, I mean, you know.
Then we'd have more, and then my parents would make us sleep outside in this camper we had outside. I'm like, what's the difference? You know, and then I'd be at school and some kids are talking about the end of the world. You know, we're going to fall through, and anywhere you point a light, it's another hole is going to open up and it's going to get us. And I'm like, and I think that year, either Towering Inferno and or Earthquake came out to top it all off.
Right.
You know, at the Post movie theater.
Right.
You know, I don't know if you remember that because you were little, but I remember like boring movies at the base theater. Boring. They would draw a crowd. I remember the Towering Inferno came on. It's about a skyscraper that's on fire that I probably would not watch today. And it was wrapped from the front of the movie theater all the way back past the teen club, going all the way down to the high school. There was a line that long to get in that movie because there was nothing else to do for them poor GIs.
Oh, I'm sure. Right.
You know?
Either that or go off base to Stanza and get drunk.
Right. Or the Archipelago, a very family-friendly movie theater. But you know, it was limited for a GI. They'd get stationed there. They're young, they're full of testosterone, and the Italian dads would lock up their daughters, man.
Oh yeah.
So like, go have a pizza. You liking the pizza? Like, yeah, I did that yesterday. You're liking the tortellini? I did the tortellini yesterday. So you know, we had to create our own fun, but you learned Italian too pretty early, I bet, you know?
Yeah. I think because I lived in Vicenza, or actually Camisano, for the longest time, a lot of my friends were actual Italians, you know? So I had no choice back then. You know, it was either get along with them or that's it, you know? And I still remember this little kid that I used to hang around with called Roberto, you know what I'm saying? And we used to like go steal like apples and pears and like apricots and fruit trees and stuff like that back before it was built up, you know? And I remember being out in Camisano before, you know, apparently I hear stories about it growing up and how it's like larger than life now. But I remember back in the day when they used to have these little go-kart races and stuff, and they would put like, you know, put bales of hay in there and stuff, and they used to have that, and then they would have soccer games and all that. But I mean, yeah, I learned Italian real early, basically I guess when I was like 6, 7 years old, I started talking, with the locals and stuff. So, and then, and some of your podcasts before, people were saying America, and I'm like Americano, you know what I'm saying?
American guy. Hey, American. Yeah. They sounded like Borat. I like you. Who wants to ride the moped and listen to disco music?
Right.
It was like,
oh yeah,
hey.
no, yeah, it was.
When I heard Borat the movie, I was like, is this guy imitating Italian guys on mopeds? That's what I thought. First thing came to mind. What you also spent a lot of time at the bowling alley because that's where your dad worked, right?
Well, no, my dad was actually a lab technician at the hospital. Mm-hmm. Okay, he spent many a years there, and so after school, instead of riding the bus home, I'd say, "Hey, Dad, can I hang out until you got off, and then you went home?" And he would get off around 5-ish or something like that. But I'd go to the bowling alley, and I'd go hang out in the gym. I'd go bowl. I'd go do whatever. You know what I mean? And it was always, but there was very few kids there during that time. So a lot of it was just me. And then actually later on, when my little sister used to be able to hang out with me when she started being able to stay after school and stuff like that. But yeah, I spent a lot of time in the bowling alley and over there in the gym area and stuff like that. So.
Did you work summer hire at all? Did you have a summer hire?
Yeah. Well, you know what my favorite was? Bagging groceries, bro.
Oh, that was the moneymaker. That wasn't even summer hire.
Dude. I used to run over there to the commissary and like, hey man, put my name in and stuff like that right after school. And they would do it for like a couple hours, every day. I think it was always first come, first serve. But yeah, man, I actually love that because I made a lot. I mean, back then.
Relative.
Yeah. So.
Well, you were probably trying to buy something at the PX and take it home, something American, like music or a music machine, whether it be a boombox or a Walkman or whatever.
Right. I don't know if you remember this, but my mom was the big Bose representative in the PX,
I do.
Yeah, she had the afro at the time.
I just remember she had all these GIs captivated.
Right.
Like, and she was going to get them. She might as well have been selling Porsches because the speakers she was selling, the 901s, were like $1,200 or $1,500, and you could buy a used BMW at the front gate for $800, $1,200, $2,000, and this was like a serious commitment. And then you'd probably have to buy the amplifier. So the whole product was probably $2,000 to have the loudest stereo in the barracks or your house in Villaggio or wherever you were going to take it. And they were selling the reflective sound. Now, Bose still has got a good rep, but I could see them. They had the presentation and they put in there and they get to blast them. No other speaker company thought of doing this. They would have probably sold more too, Right. But they had that market cornered. Right.
No, she did a good job. And she used to always like walk around the PX and try to sell other stuff too. It was funny,
Yeah.
She was pretty good at it.
Wasn't your mom German? Yeah.
She is. Yep. Yeah. 100%. So I'm like 50% German.
Yeah. My mom's 100% German too. I just didn't see a lot of German relatives being salesmen. It's not their gig. They're engineers. They're logical, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Maybe be doing the weather report or something, or astrophysics. I have no idea. But
hey, real quick, if you see me smack, man, I got like 3 cats and a dog, and they keep on bothering me.
Really? That's okay. It's okay. Podcast with pets with Ralph Shuburg.
No, I mean, my dog, I just let him outside, but there's a thunderstorm coming and I don't want him left out there because he normally just lays out there in the sun.
So you were in Vicenza, you went and graduated in Germany. What was, you had like a year or two in Germany from Vicenza?
I had 1 year, actually. 1 year? I went there my senior year. My dad got stationed at Landstuhl, Army Hospital there. And he was real close to retirement. And I ended up going there, trying to make friends. Actually, my first wife was from there.
Oh, wow. You made friends all right.
Yeah. Yeah. I made some pretty good friends. But then, I started, once I graduated high school, I went and worked at this place called the Roman Inn. It's basically, it's where the rec center is on Ramstein. And, you know, there's people that may know it, may not. But anyway, it was basically a beer joint, pizza joint, you know?
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So then I think it was like 6 months after I graduated, my dad, he retired from the military.
Okay.
And then he got a job there too, but he was the custodian.
Like,
Right.
Dad, I'm your boss now.
But I tell you what, man, I was so busy getting effed up, you know, and drinking beer and stuff like that. I had to do something with my life, man, because I mean, I lived actually behind the castle that's in Launchstoel, the Launchstoel Castle. I lived up behind there, and you know, I decided to go see the Air Force recruiter, man, and I joined the Air Force. So I went in January. I was like, you know, 6 months after, I'm gone. So it was a 13-hour flight to San Antonio, and oh my gosh, the rest is history.
How fun is that, man? Like, we had to wait till we get into just enough trouble where the military was the only option. You're like, I got in some trouble, not enough yet. A little bit of trouble, not enough yet. You know,
Right.
The Air Force, you know, I wanted it for cush duty, but then I said, if I'm going to go serious, I'm going to go something, you know, if I'm going to go more military hardcore, I'm going to go another direction.
Right.
But there is some elements to the Air Force that are pretty heavy duty that people don't realize too. It's just the old joshing between the forces. Like,
yeah, I mean,
you know, airborne calling a guy a leg, or, you know, some guys are infantry, some people are office workers. You know, you need everything, though.
I look at it like this, man. I joined the, and I'm not degrading anybody or something like that, the easier of the forces. You know what I'm saying? Because my dad was in the Army. There was no way I was doing Marine Corps, and I get seasick. So then it only left the Air Force, you know. So I became an aircraft mechanic, and then I got stationed in Texas, you know. But the funny thing is,
you and Kevin Merritt were both aircraft mechanics at one point.
Right. Yeah. So right after that, I actually took a special duty assignment down about the time of Desert Storm, and so I went to Hahn Air Force Base in Germany. I went back to Germany, and I went into the postal division of, you know, post office and stuff. And then I got deployed for 3 months to Incirlik, Turkey.
Oh, wow.
Right. So
that's you get to see some more sights. I mean, some people, like, I got stationed in Kansas, and then I got stationed in Kansas, and that's all there was.
Right.
You know, I wanted, you know, the Navy was pretty much guaranteed if you're going to be on a ship, which was the highest. There was more at sea than there was really shore duty stations in the Navy.
Right.
So you're going to go somewhere. You're either going on a med cruise or you're going to go on a Westpac.
Right.
So you're going to hit Asia like I did, or you're going to go all over Europe all over again.
Right.
So it's cool to knock those off the list. But, you know, after the Air Force, you just decide on Kentucky because your mom was out there. You're like, well,
here's the deal. My mom and dad split up and they got divorced. They actually got divorced when I was 17, or actually 16. So during the time frame that, like, my parents split, was the time that I went to Germany.
Okay.
So they ended up splitting. And so after the Air Force, my dad actually lived in Chicago.
Wow.
And I'm not going to Chicago. Sorry.
Right.
You know? I mean, I like visiting and stuff like that, but there's no way I would have made it, you know, living there.
Too damn cold, man.
It's city life and that stuff like that really never appealed to me because I grew up, you know.
You're a Camisano guy.
Camisano, man. Camisano ain't got nothing to do with city, bro.
Yeah, right. So Kentucky is the Camisano of America, as I'm understanding this.
Right. Well, I actually, you know, when I moved here, I moved into an apartment with them because they were kind of new here too. And they had just moved here from Dayton, Ohio. And my stepdad is actually a pastor of a church. Mm-hmm. And so he ended up pastoring, or actually he went to the seminary here.
Okay.
So that's how I kind of ended up here. Mm-hmm. And shortly after that, you know, through a couple girlfriends or whatever, I met my beautiful wife that I'm married to still today. And we have 2 kids. My son's 23 and my daughter's 20. So,
wow.
Yep.
That's pretty wild, Ralphie. And
Yes, sir.
you're a self-made man. You're a businessman. You're creative, you know?
Yes, sir. Sure. Yeah, I've kind of like struggled along the way.
Who hasn't?
Actually, huh?
Who hasn't, businessman to
Yeah.
businessman?
I mean, it's not struggling. I just look at it as, you know, I'm a little bit street smart. You know what I mean?
Of
So,
course you are.
I know how to make a dollar, man. So it's like, it was never a hassle for me. So,
You just treat it like bagging groceries. You just beat your competitors to the customer
right.
and get first dibs. That's
Right. Speaking of that, man, I remember finding some stickers. Do you remember that when I found stickers in what was it, the PX like garbage can back in the day, and I sold them for like a packet of Marlboro stickers for like $5 a pack at school? Do you
Wow.
remember
I
that?
don't remember those.
Dude, I found a whole box of them, and I remember, and I knew that I was like good at making money because I found those, like, I don't even remember how old I was, maybe 12, 13 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I found this box, and it had Marlboro stickers and stuff.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. And then I ended up selling them at school for like $5 a pack, man.
Wow. That's
Right.
I would do car detailing sometimes, summer hire.
Right.
Sometimes Italians needed some Marlboros. It worked.
Well, not only that, but I used to be the scorekeeper at basketball games over at the gym because I spent so much time over there. I used to be like, the people who stop add the points and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I used to do that like all the time, and I used to get paid all kinds of money to do that.
Some of you guys found a hustle. I wasn't thinking about that, initially. Later, yeah, but I think you learned how to hustle because
Right.
you're communicating with new people all the time.
Oh yeah.
And you learn to overcome obstacles. I say this to other people that have gone into, like I was talking to Steffo Lehman, like he worked for the UN, meeting people
Right.
from all over the world. Well, that's just a year in Vicenza, if you think about it.
Right.
And then sales, your rap, your game, how you communicate to get what you want, you're
Right.
learning it without going to one of those former sales schools,
Right. Right.
just
Right.
on the natural. You like know how to ask for something and
Right.
see what they're looking for. So that's pretty cool, and that's probably why you found your fit in business, man.
Yeah. I actually, not to like voice my whatever I do, but I own a lawn care company and I've owned it for 14 years here. And it's pretty lucrative and it's a pretty good business to be in and stuff. I've got, 3 full-time guys that work for me and stuff like that. But yeah, I've always had that, risk-taking entrepreneurship mindset in my head, and that's pretty much me.
Do you think it was the times that we would go without, you didn't want to see yourself that way, like we can't afford that, or
Right.
you're gonna save up for that, like you saw some boombox, Dad, I want that boombox. No, son, that's $300 for that JVC boombox. Back in today's dollars, maybe that was $3,000. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So you were like, okay, well, I'm gonna go score keep here. I'm gonna go bag some groceries over there. I'm gonna sell
Right.
some stickers.
Right.
And by the time I'm done, I'm going to have that boombox, right?
Right. And when I was in 8th grade, I tell you what I did. I forgot Cindy Graff went to Fort Devens. That was funny. Whenever I saw that podcast and stuff,
Oh yeah.
and I saw that she had went to Fort Devens, I forgot all about that. But I do remember she was there. And then, and we did follow each other kind of like ghosts, but anyway, so when I was at Fort Devens, I went out and started mowing grass. You know what I mean? I was in competition with the kid up the street, and we would see like on a Saturday who could mow the most yards, and we were charging $5 a yard back then, man.
Yeah.
That's like highway robbery now.
That's a whole bunch of bubble yum, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was, man. But I mean, I was always like, I've never had a problem, trying to make ends meet, man. So,
nah, you just turn it on and you go get it. It's instinctive.
Right.
You're a hunter.
Right.
But for you doing that kind of work, I've always liked having the own business thing myself. I mean, I don't know. I like the unlimited potential of it. If you want something, you turn it up that much more.
Right.
But there are some wonderful careers where people are tenured or vested and they come out pretty good at the other end.
I mean, I built Toyota cars for 12 years. I worked in a factory here in Lexington or actually it's Georgetown for the Toyota. And I did that for 12 years. You know,
that was a pretty good gig out here in California. We had the NUMMI plant, New United Motors.
Right. Yeah, we used to make the Soleras, the Camrys, the Avalons, and we did the Sienna minivans when they first came out. So, but I took a buyout from there too. You know, I got bored.
Yeah, some jobs you're like, is this all I am? As long as it evolves and it's exciting,
Right.
it'll keep your interest. But if you're like, okay, I got
Right.
the job, scoop the ice cream, serve the ice cream. Okay.
Exactly.
Well, now if you own the restaurant, you're doing the marketing, you're keeping it exciting, getting new crowds, that's different. But if it's just scoop the ice cream, serve the ice cream, it's gonna be tenuous after a while.
Speaking of restaurant, man, when I was in the military, I worked as a bar back.
Yeah.
I worked at Burger King. Actually, when I was in the military, I was always chasing that dollar, man.
Wow.
Always, no matter what. I've had more jobs. I think when I got out of the military in '93 and I moved here, that year I turned in like 8 W-2s because I was always bouncing, trying to make myself better, bouncing. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's paid off.
Well, I mean, you know what it is? It's the feast and famine thing where you come from Italy and you can either have scoring, selling stickers, and bagging. You come to the States like, what? I can work at 6 restaurants? Yeah, unlimited. Like anybody that immigrates here that sees America and they go, what are you complaining about? There's so many, like the movie Step Brothers, so much room for activities.
Right.
But I mean, meaning for opportunities, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I get that part, man. It's like some people came here like, oh, I can work. Oh, I can own a house. Oh, I can do this. Oh, yeah. And then I can have a business. I have a business. I don't want a job. I want a business. Like so many options, different ways.
Well, and the thing that's actually made me be able to do a lot of this is because my wife that I'm married to now, she's an RN. And so she used to be able to kind of take my back when I wanted to try something new or whatever. You know, when I worked at Toyota in Georgetown, I started my lawn care company, and she took part of that, ownership of, hey, I'm going to pay the bills a little more for you to take a risk. Now, she's not really a risk taker, but she let me be it. And, it's paid off, but I was glad that she was around to, take some of the bills.
Well, I am presuming this, Ralph. I bet you started succeeding early, but she was there as a parachute that you may not have had to pull as hard as you as normal. It probably didn't take you long to get hustling on that kind of business.
Right.
But
well,
cover the cost of your big John Deere tractors or whatever you're doing.
The thing about it is the funny thing is it takes a lot longer than people think. I know a lot of people that came out, like some people work at Ford. We got 2 Ford factories here. We also have the Toyota plant, which is like 70 miles down the road, and a lot of people, they're in and out of that place. I know some people that like left Ford, bought a bunch of lawn care equipment, blah, blah, blah. And then after that, they're bankrupt the next year, because you got to,
there's a lot of tricks and obstacles and a lot of thinking. It's a game of chess.
Right.
It's not a game of checkers, but people try to start a business. They say 3 out of 5 businesses fail. I know this is becoming a business seminar, because I know about business too. But the point is that for you to make it work, I think that hustle of being culturally diverse and knowing people from different, nationalities, ethnicities, different parts of the world, you can relate to them. You can create rapport because you've been all over. And that helps with your salesmanship too,
Oh yeah. My wife can't stand it that I like to talk to people.
Right. Yeah, but that's like you gotta let it out. You gotta let it out, right?
Right.
So your wife's a little introverted?
Well, no, it's not necessarily that. It's like if I go into Kroger and I see somebody and I'm like, I'll hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Hey, how's it going? Blah, 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 But I just, that's part of my family gene, I guess. My dad's been like that too. My dad will go talk to somebody, and we have Kroger stores here, and he'll talk to somebody and say, hey, I drink milk because it's good for you, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And this lady's like, "Oh, thanks, but I didn't ask." So, but anyway.
No, it's I get it, Ralph. It's a big change. So have you gone back to Europe since in the last decade or two, or?
No, but my parents have. My mom and my stepdad, they have a little bit more, I like to go to the beach. So we go to like Florida a lot, So, my trips have been to Florida and the beach because my kids like it, my wife likes it, her mom likes it, her side of the family. So I've never really taken that trip. Plus it's expensive, man. You really gotta, and you gotta be tied to the military if you're going over there, or else it's just way over the top expensive.
Well, I'm going to tell you, go to Spain. It's less expensive than go to Florida.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right.
I keep talking about Spain. I love it. I went there with my wife. I mean,
I've heard you say that too. Yeah.
The cost is a fraction of a morsel. You and your wife could eat out 4 or 5 times a day on $100 with cocktails.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 4 or 5 different restaurants.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and not like eating hors d'oeuvres servings from Costco.
Well, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. So
obviously. So who did you used to hang out with other than Cindy?
Oh, wow. Well, I hung out a lot with Kevin Merritt. I used to hang out, here and there at school, Bobby Miller, hung out with you, Mark Parkins in school. Used to get bullied by a couple people.
Well, they're like, I was explaining that to you. Some of them were getting bullied at home and they brought it to school.
Right.
So you didn't know. Now you'd find them today and you'd be like, oh, where'd that, razzmatazz go? But but when you get bullied as a kid, you hold it in your head forever.
I tell you, I hung out with a lot of Italians. I didn't speak. Do you remember a guy named Roberto Hobbs?
Yeah, that was Cindy's boyfriend.
Right. Anyway, I hung out with him and some other people and stuff like that, but it was always because he had the illegal Vespa.
Oh, that guy was the motorcycle, he was Vin Diesel of mopeds.
Right.
Fast and the Furious, right? Take a 20-mile-an-hour moped and make it go 80.
Right.
That was
and see, I got turned on by a lot of that people because it was in Torri di Quartazzolo. That was where one of the mechanics used to bore out our motorcycles and stuff. So, I had
take a 50cc, turn it into a 90.
Turn it into an 80 or 90cc, and then the Italian carabinieri get on your butt.
Carburetors and exhaust systems.
And they could hear it coming down the road. Oh, you're illegal. Oh, you're illegal, and give you a ticket.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Those were a blast. There was nothing like the desire for speed on your little bike. And I presume a lot of Americans that are buying these electric bicycles are like, this one only goes 28 miles an hour. They're like, I want it to go 35, but that's a bicycle, not even the base of a moped. They're gonna be a skinny little stick, like being on a broom handle going 45. You know what I mean? So, but
so I'd hang out, and like when I lived in Camisano, I used to hang out with what was that guy's name? I forgot. Anyway, I lived close to a guy whose dad was a colonel, and I forgot his name.
It may come to you.
Yeah, but I lived right around the corner from him. I didn't really spend much time with them or anything, but I had a 50cc dirt bike, but it was street legal, so it was like an enduro. But I used to hang around a lot down there because I lived right behind. Do you know where the Camisano trout lake is?
Well, by your house, right?
Yeah, it was right by my house.
I went to your house.
Right, you could jump the fence and go fishing. Right. So we used to do a lot of that.
Senior year, I spent a nice weekend with you partying, just drinking it out and jumping over the fence. Not being
junior year.
Yeah, junior year maybe. Yeah, we were out there fishing, catching big old catfish at night, and I don't even eat fish. I just wanted to catch them.
Right.
I was like, catch the big catfish at nighttime, and that's when they come out.
Right.
But, no, it was cool, man. And then like one of your dad's friends showed up and she made us chili, and I'll never forget it because didn't have a lot of spicy food in Italy. I grew up kind of a very bland, palate. So that stuff was hot. And it's kind of hard to eat really hot chili with a hangover. I don't know if there was a hangover, right? It was good though. I loved it. You know how
Yeah,
you
I can't.
beer munchies in the morning, right?
Right. I'm trying to think. You know, when I hung around, I didn't have, or actually, I know what it was. I used to hang around Mike Mitchell. Like after school, we'd ride the bus home, and we used to wrestle all the time on the bus. I remember that. And
Yeah.
we would take turns, you know, and well, I'm not saying take turns, but he would like act like he's kicking my butt and I'd kick his butt and whatever. But yeah, we would, you know, we had those commercial buses. It wasn't like traditional buses here, you know. We had those tourist buses. So, you know, the seats were way up there and stuff.
Yeah,
you
European tour buses.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to, when I rode the bus there, I would always be the last stop. I think Mike Walker actually lived out there by me.
He did.
Right. I'm trying to think, but see, he lived further on in past, like not towards where the
actually, no, he might have been there momentarily, but I remember him living near Barrico because I used to ride my bike to his house to get videotapes because his dad had the market, man. I mean, if you wanted a videotape, you know, a boring weekend was ahead, you were going to watch Rai Due or Rai Uno and watch the same old movie or an American movie that's 10 years old that's dubbed. You're like, I saw that on SEB. So, you know, to get a real American movie in your house was such a luxury, dude.
We never got it, man. I used to watch Italian soccer all the time because
really?
That's why I still to this day I'll put soccer on TV and everybody's like boring, you know, but I love it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, just because I grew up over there, you know. So
and that's a trip, you know. So you get to see life after Italy. Did you end up doing what you thought you would do, or are you surprised by it, or anything?
No, not at all, man. 25 years ago, 30 years ago, you would have told me I would be living the way I am now. There's no way. No way.
Right?
Yeah, there's no way. I went into the military. I got stationed in Reese Air Force Base in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I lived in a trailer with a buddy of mine, you know, then a couple apartments. Then I went overseas, got married a couple times.
Were these like, did you find like a Vegas wedding chapel? Whoa, we drank too much last night.
No, actually my first
one, you reversed through it to get divorced. Perfect.
My first wife, we went to the courthouse, you know, because I went to basic training and I got really lonely, you know, so.
One of those.
I called her up and I said, hey, let's get married. So we did. And that was it. That lasted about 8 months.
One of those Dear John wives that a young man first acquires. Dear John wife, yeah, okay.
Right, and then you know, I had a rebound wife, and you know, that went sour too. You know, and it's because you know you're young. You know, you don't think of anything. You know, you got total difference of opinions, difference of goals, everything. You know what I mean?
You don't evaluate it that much when you get married too young most of the time. I mean, you're not seeing past tomorrow. As an adult, you're looking a year or two down the road. When you mature, when your brain finally grows. But when you're getting married that young, your chances of it working are minimal. There have been people that have made it, done well at it, but there was just some decision to overcome obstacles together. But when you're meeting someone who's on another road, hey, let's go on a hike through the jungle. We're going to go to this cave. Well, no, I was going to the fountain. And it's like, oh, I guess we're not going to the same place. See you later. You know, you know? You're hitchhiking and going to Vegas, and they take you to Ohio. You're like, what happened?
Right.
So, you know, you're like, no, we're not. But I get that, Ralph. I mean, a lot of people have had divorces, and you know, I've had a couple. They're kind of cool. You know, it's like
I've had a couple.
Yeah, listen, I've jumped a few ramps on my BMX bike to say.
Right.
But it just wasn't meant to be. Did I know what I didn't know what I wanted. We just came back to America, to our country. How many people are coming? How many Italians went to school in the States and they're coming back to Italy for the first time?
Right.
And they have to adapt. That's probably a lot more rare. You know?
Who was that? Was it the Dingeses that said they had to pick between being a U.S. citizen or not? Like, when they came back to the States and stuff. I think I had to do that too because I didn't get my Social Security card until I was 18.
Really?
You know what I mean? So
were you a German citizen or what?
yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. But I remember one time I had to get my social security number because they wouldn't let me join the military or something or whatever, or but I never had one, you know.
Yeah.
So, but
well, now you're American. Here you are.
yes.
There you are.
Sì, sono un americano.
Molto bene. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see how many people still speak Italian. A lot of people do. But in our wherever town we live in, we're probably pretty unique to most people. Like in your town.
I got a friend whose wife is full-blooded Italian. He's a
Mm-hmm.
police officer, and his wife, he goes to the gym that I go to. And so when she comes in there, I try to like talk a little bit with her because I haven't really had that much, capability of doing that. And the funny thing is I'm half German and I speak more Italian than I do German. And my mom lives here and we speak English all the time. And she's a full-blooded German, so.
I'm half German too, Ralph. I believe I spoke German when I learned it for 2 years when I was like between 3 and 5. If I go full immersion, I can start picking it up. But I also speak Spanish, and I don't practice that because I learned it by listening to Mexican people.
Right.
But it's not. I went to Spain and I spoke actual Spanish. I'm like, wow, like you have a decoder in your head.
Right. I took German in class when I was in Ramstein for one of my electives. Yeah. And I failed. I failed it.
Well.
I didn't need the class, so I was just like, well, whatever.
Who have you seen? Well, you've seen some people since then. I mean, how many Cougars have you seen?
I have seen, actually, I went and talked to Alyssa Ventillo, but not many, to be honest. I've talked to a few of them on the phone. Like, I didn't get on Facebook till like 2009 or something, because I just,
you're busy working. Never could. Yeah.
Right. So, but reaching out to a few people here and there, I've tried to reach out to Kevin Merritt.
He's coming back. He's going to be on the podcast. I'm going to get him.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Cool.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to many people at all, And
I appreciate you coming on because I know you're hesitant at first. More people remember each other than they realize. Nobody knew me because we forget about it. We put it in a box. We forget how rich the experience was. And when other people talk about it, like, oh yeah, I went there too. I was at the pizzeria with them. Yeah, that's where I was. That's the ticket.
The funny thing is it brings up so many memories. I've been watching a few of these podcasts and people are bringing up stuff that's like clicking stuff in my head,
Right.
And if I didn't hear that, I would never remember.
Yeah.
But I remember, let's say Cindy said something about how we were so free over there, and we were. Man, I went by myself to Yaslow Beach on a train when I was 15.
Yeah.
Okay. And I stayed in a hotel by myself over the weekend when I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of that in the States? Nope.
No, your 15-year-old kids are locked up, the helicopter parents. Don't go outside. Stay away. There's a man in a van.
Right.
Don't up your kids.
Don't leave the driveway.
Yeah, don't leave the driveway. Don't talk to that man over there.
Right.
Yeah, they're a lot more suspicious here.
Right. It's sad that this world is coming. It really is. So.
Well, then they make a movie like Taken, where the guy's daughter gets kidnapped.
Right.
It's like
we're taken too.
Yeah. We're not going to go to Turkey or France. Wait till they make Taken 3 in Italy, and then all the Italian tourism is going to die.
Right.
That's the wild thing, man. I mean, you remember the teen club trips or the teen club dances and all that stuff?
Oh boy, do I ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my go-to. Cause I was kind of like jock, head, frock, whatever that means. You know what I mean? I was like,
multitask.
It was like Mike Mitchell bragging about how he can run a 40-yard dash in something but smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, me and Mike Mitchell were smoking cigarettes running 4-minute miles, not sub 4, but like 4:23.
Right.
Ridiculous. I didn't know how fast that really was, but then again, I had to ride a bicycle 25 miles a day back and forth to Mark's house, to Villaggio, the base, on back and forth. That was my car.
Right.
So I had at least an hour and a half of cardio there, and then lifeguarding. So it was basically triathlon training just to get to where I wanted, and I wasn't training like with the intensity. I was just doing it. You know, that was just your life.
Right.
You know, I have mopeds here and there. Then you get a car. Did you get a car when you were in Germany?
I did. My dad gave me his Fiat. It was a 123 Fiat.
Yeah.
And it was one of those box ones that they had 4 doors and stuff like that. And I remember because I lived, I don't know, I don't know if you're familiar with Landstuhl, but Landstuhl is like the army hospital where basically everybody from Iraq that was, you know, hurt came to. Yeah. And that was the hospital. That was the American hospital. Well, I lived up behind the castle, but there's a big road that goes straight up and stuff like that. And I remember one day my car was acting up and I was like trying to get up the hill, and my dad, he opens up the hood and the engine's red, dude, because I didn't have any oil in it.
Oh yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, you got to put oil in this damn thing. He said, that's why you ain't got no compression. But yeah, I did. I briefly got a car there. But then, like I said, I only stayed, you know, after I graduated, I stayed 6 months and then I was out. So.
Yeah, it's interesting, that lifestyle. I spent a lot of time not thinking about it, you know, and then later, you know, I went to the VA and they're like, here, we're going to give you this award. I'm like, oh, I have an ID card, you know? So then I went back to base to see what am I missing? Like this religion that I used to belong to called the military, this cult, this organization, whatever, this culture, you know? And I go to a PX, I go to a military barber. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Stay at a BOQ, and I go, and then I hear taps or I hear reveille. You know what I mean? I'm like, dun, 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 dun. I'm like, oh yeah, we're supposed to be in number 40 at football practice during this song. You know, it's like, you know, I mean, come on, our movie, how we grew up with the national anthem being played on post. You had to stand up at the movie theater. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Heart on, hand on your heart, the whole 9 yards, man. It's the way everybody was raised over there.
We were more American than America.
Right. Especially nowadays.
Oh yeah, that's how it is, though.
You know, I tell you this, and you know, not to get political or anything, but I think that every high schooler in the United States needs to take a field trip to some of those third world countries that are overseas, and then they can come back to America and kiss the ground that they live on.
Yeah.
No, and I'm dead serious, because the way people live over there, it's unreal, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
I've seen some stuff I don't even want to tell my kids about, you know?
Well, there's that, and then there's, you don't have to go far. You can go to Skid Row in America. You can go down in the San Francisco over here. You can go down to LA.
I forgot you're in California.
Yeah, but it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's not just here. It's moving everywhere.
It is, but you know, they do say that, you know, some of the Skid Rows in America are still richer than some of the poor places over there. You know?
I believe that to a degree, but then I don't. When I see it, it looks so like, it looks like the same kind of movie picture that you would see in Time magazine of some kind of country like that. And I've been to those too.
Right.
And that's the thing. It's like, if people don't have any exposure to the world, that's the benefit we got. But we're the small percentage preaching to the masses.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
I mean, a kid, we played sports to win. We had hazing. We had aggression. We had alpha. That was our nature of our school and the way we grew up. And we were around macho man, you know, and macho women, you know, if you want to call it for the military.
Right.
They were like soldiers. They were hardcore back then. And that was the drum beat. And then over time, the military's changed to a softer, more understanding, you know, emotional path that they've gotten more, you know, I guess you could call it PC. This changed. We were in this really aggro and with airborne. Come on. So you're at the wolf's den with the wolf jogging by your high school, right? And then that culture was there. So you grew up with that. You played sports. You had to win. You didn't have to win or you'd be kicked out of the town. but the goal was winning. It wasn't participation trophies. And some things were tough that marked some people, but some things made people better. And you know, it doesn't matter. You get older. Right. And when we were kids, oh, look at them kids with long hair and tight jeans. They're crazy. They don't know nothing. You know, it's like, hey, you're judging us before Ralph owned his, you know, great business and did well in life and all this other stuff. You don't know how this kid's going to turn out. I mean,
you should have seen after I got out of the military, dude. I grew a mullet. It was long. I'll send you a picture. I'll send you a picture one day. I don't want to post it on this, but
I'd love to post it on your podcast.
Yeah, no, man.
You got a few ahead of you. I'm doing this one. We just let out Cindy Graffs today, which kind of stirred you up to this. And, you know, by you being on here, other people will come on here. Everyone's like, you know, some people are like, oh, it's not my thing. And I'm like, what was your thing? You know, how can you deny Vicenza?
Right.
How can you deny it?
You can't.
You can't deny it. I don't care how much you want to push it away or shove it out of your head.
Right.
It's undeniable. That experience.
Especially.
How many more Vicenza lives did you have after Vicenza? You had one Cougar cat life, right?
Well, especially, you know, people that stayed there as long as me, you, Cindy.
Right.
There was quite a few people that
Dolianis, Millers, Pelleritos, Rich.
Dinges.
Yeah, Dinges.
Right.
And you know who else I found out? The Lamans, but they were in Verona the whole time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were there. They were born there.
Oh, wow.
So Dina Lehman, Dina Kim, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she was there the whole time.
I remember Dina. I'm going to watch that whenever you post that on there.
That's a good one. She's such a sweet little innocent one. And then naughty Steffo, you know, releases some information about some butane or something. I don't even know what that is.
He looks totally different bald, dude. I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah.
I remember hair.
Yeah. Well, he's still got the look. Now he can go a little more Vin Diesel from the Italian soccer player look.
There you go.
I'm sure all his female fans will be tuning in. He had plenty of them back then.
Right.
You know, he did. And he's like, yeah, okay. Other guys are like, I wish I could get a date to the prom. Looks like Steffo has them all, damn it. But that's how it works. But, you know, Vicenza, the little growing up in a place where what does your dad do? What does your mom do? What's their position on post? Oh, your dad's in charge of the police, so you can't associate with me. They smoke cigarettes across the North 40. Or your dad is over here and he's trying to get you into college and he doesn't want you hanging out with this kid. And there was a lot of that happened. Well, that guy, he rides a moped with no hands, and I saw him with a beer once. And it's like, hey, he's just enjoying la dolce vita, right?
Right.
Who else do you want to see on here? Who's some of your people you'd like to see?
I mean, Cindy said something about Dennis Smith. You know, I haven't really talked to him at all. I do want to see Kevin Merritt, see what he's got to say. There was a buddy of mine that lived there for years, but I don't know if you can reach out to him. His name was Nick Huey. And his actual last name is changed. So it's Padoan or something like that. Padawan. Okay. But I mean, you know, I don't know if they're going to have anything to say or whatever. But like I said, I mean, some people will hesitate or like they're you know, whatever they're doing. I've like I said, most of the time that I was there, and I think that just takes in consideration when I left. Whenever I, you know, after 11th grade, it was like, see you. You know, that's how everybody acted over there because it didn't really matter. You know, I felt like I was being uprooted from something that was mine for years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I just had to go in. I went into this new school, Ramstein, Germany, you know, made a couple friends or whatever, was never really the popular guy. I was always the outsider, you know, and
Mike Walker has the same story, kind of similar, not as much because you only had 1 year to work in. And there was a couple other people that went to the 1 year Germany trip, I think.
Right.
There's probably 5 or 6 or 10 or more people.
It was so weird that with me and Cindy were so like similar though,
Right.
because my eighth grade year, I went to Fort Devens. She went to Fort Devens. And it was funny. I came back in ninth grade and she was already back. And I'm like, what's going on here?
Both of your parents were in the medical field though. Her mom was a school nurse, so maybe that's some parallel. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I have no idea. All I know is that when I went to Fort Devens in eighth grade, I got more trouble than I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
Dude, I got in so much trouble. I skipped school, got busted at 8:00 in the morning.
Wow.
Didn't matter. I got in trouble. My grandpa sent me some fireworks from Tennessee, and I got busted on post popping them right by my house. And the cops asked my dad, said, "Why didn't he run?" And I was like, well, and I guess that's because we lived in Italy,
Yeah.
and because we didn't have all that ruling going on there. Because I remember when I lived in Stanza, or what is it, Stanza?
By the front gate, near the front gate, right?
Right, yeah.
I remember that.
Well, I lived right across the street on that first street where the Carabinieri used to sit there with the Uzis.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that? Like right on that corner?
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, we used to go down to the churchyard down there. And, man, we would buy fireworks from that little store that had who was it talking about all the dirty magazines and shit that was in there?
David Dinges?
Gosh, I can't remember. But, yeah, we used to get it was like dirty magazine heaven. You could get whatever you want. Drink beer at 14, eat pizza, do whatever you wanted to. But we used to have Roman candle fights in that church parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
We'd light the fireworks and shoot each other in the back, so, yeah, we lived a wild life, man. But, yeah, I got a knot jerked to me when I went to the States, man. I got a lot of trouble. I had the OSI and the CID after me. They come to my house thinking that I did stuff I didn't do.
Been there.
Right.
Been there. Bad. Like, let's build a fake case. Let's practice on some children since we're not really competent in our jobs. Right. What about Jeff Pisano? That was who it was.
That's who it was. Yes, right? He lived by me. Recently, I just Facebook requested him and said, and we talked a little bit. But yeah, he lived next to me. He was a little older than me, but all I remember is one time I went over and he played guitar. Okay. Yeah. So I'd hang out at his house and stuff like that. I broke my leg behind his house riding a dirt bike.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I broke my knee in half, like my femur. I split it and I ended up being in a cast for 7-8 weeks, ended up flying to Landstuhl, and they said, "Oh, that's a European cast." You know what I mean? Because it was like on wrong and all that stuff. So, but anyway, long story short, I went to Pisano's house and we was listening. He was playing music and stuff like that, and he dipped, right? So I went to grab my Pepsi. Drank the spit, man. Gross.
Horrible.
Yes.
Horrible.
Spit it out. Bah. It was nasty.
Well, Pisano, I hung out with him. I remember he came to my house because we were playing football and my dad was coaching. He was staying at my house. I think we'd had a few. I go, "Let's go ride my moped." And he's like, "Woo." He's just new to the States. Right. And he gets in the back of my moped, and he's a huge guy. He was like 6 foot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember. He was like 6'4", 5", something like that.
Right. Or he seemed so then, and we were still growing.
Right.
Anyways, we were going down this road, my house, and my new moped, I was all happy with it. Like, look at this thing go. And he's wobbling so bad, we both fell over sideways on that thing at about 20 miles an hour. Not my first or last motorcycle wreck, but yeah. I was like, okay, fun times, Jeff. But Jeff was
road rash.
Jeff was a sweetheart of a gentle giant. He was a good time.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, when I was at your house, Mark Parkins was at your house. We were doing the fishing and drinking on the weekend of our junior year before you left.
Right.
That's what it was. It was summertime at the Trout. And then I think I think it was Jeff and Freddie came cruising out in one of the Parkins cars, and we were going to take it somewhere.
Right.
And it blew up because he didn't change oil. It was the Grand Prix. Right. We were getting ready to go on a wild trip to a cool disco because you were in the middle of nowhere. We're like, we're going to get to society in this machine. And it blew up like half a mile down the road.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's
Oil.
crazy, dude.
Things like change the oil. You didn't learn that.
You're supposed to change the oil on your car.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing I try to teach my kids, man. My daughter will come home, like, and she's like, oh, my engine light's on. I'm like, have you changed the oil? Have you checked the oil? Blah, blah, blah. Dad has to do it all.
It's all the basics. You gotta be careful. You enable them. My friend did that. He's the house mechanic to his whole family, his 2 kids and his wife.
Who is that?
My friend out here in California. He's always
really?
doing that.
Right.
Yeah, but it's pretty good, man. Well, I think we'll find out who else lives in Kentucky, and we'll send them over for your house to drink beer with you on the lawn. That'll be it.
So, what was it, Maria
Cincarello?
Yeah, she apparently just moved here. She said she'd been like Fort Knox or whatever. That's not too far from me,
Yeah.
That's the Army post. Actually, my dad was stationed there back in the day when I was a little bitty, runt, like 2 years old or something like that. So
where were you born?
I was born in Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Carolinas, baby.
Yeah. And that's why somebody said something about being in Fort Bragg. Was it Barbara?
Could have been, yeah.
Somebody said, but yeah, I don't remember none of it because, most of my kinfolk are from Tennessee. So
yeah,
on my dad's side.
So you adapted. You became all country, and you were Italian. You were Italian.
Right, Italian.
You're Italian.
Right.
Italian, right. It works. But we got some more people we're going to bring on, Ralphie. Anybody in watching the podcast in Kentucky, I want to find out how many people live there. Maybe you can meet up with Ralph. He's really cool. He's a great guy to hang out with.
Right. I think Alyssa was like, she actually sent a message yesterday saying that Maria, me, and her should meet up and talk or whatever. And
Keep your social distance, Ralph.
Right. 6 feet, bro.
6 feet. Let's have it. Yeah. Pass it on. Yeah. Okay. It's all good. It's been awesome having you on here, Ralph. So people reach out to Ralph that remember Ralph, and he'll be watching your podcast and he will be judging you. I'm kidding.
No judge here, bro. Not at all.
Thanks for coming on, man.